Good evening. Welcome to ONV as we present a healthy conversation. I am Nurse Pat, and tonight we have with us a representative that will be representing the American Cancer Society. She is a volunteer, and we're going to talk about the purpose of the American Cancer Society in our community and about making strides and events that's coming up, and we'll get more into that. And first, I'd like to acknowledge one of our guests that was supposed to be here tonight. She's not feeling well, so we want to keep her in our thoughts and prayer. And I came across this quote today: "Courage doesn't always roar. Sometimes courage is the little voice at the end of the day that says, 'I'll try again tomorrow.'" Mary Ann Radmacher. And I'm going to let my guest just introduce herself, tell you who she is and what she does as a volunteer with the American Cancer Society, and then we will get into our discussion.
Okay. My name is Kathy Fischer. As Pat and I were talking, remembering back, I've been with American Cancer Society as a volunteer for 17 years. I started with Relay for Life, then got pulled over into making strides. I do it because my mother-in-law had breast cancer twice, and I just feel that God has led me into doing this all these years, even though each year it's like, you really need to stop. You need to do something else, but I keep going. So that's my story for now.
Great story. And as Kathy said, yes, we've been in this together for a very long time. And the American Cancer Society offers a lot to our community. Currently, there's not an office in Fort Wayne, but they're still available at all times. All you have to do, if you are someone that wants to reach out to them with questions 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, you can do it by email, cancer.org, or their phone number, which is 1-800-227-2345. And we know that cancer doesn't discriminate. It has no age preference, no race, no creed, nothing. Cancer strikes us all, male, female. It's just so many different forms of cancer. And I came across this week, which I didn't know, that June was Cancer Survivor Month.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And when I saw that, and the number of people that was listed that have either survived or lost the battle with cancer is just astronomical. And for women, it's breast cancer, but it's so many other cancers that are out there. And so a lot of things depend on your healthy choices that you make that leads to cancer. But Kathy, as she was saying, we did Relay for Life. What was Relay for Life? Because I'm not sure if it's still in Fort Wayne anymore, but what was Relay for Life?
When I got into it, it was at Lewis High School. There was also one at New Haven High School. And I've had many, many family members that died of one form of cancer or another. And as the last few years, my husband has been diagnosed with prostate cancer. And luckily, so far, it's a slow-growing one, and he's just being watched for now.
And that is something that a lot of men deal with. And as she was saying, Relay for Life, back at that time, it was a 24-hour event. And yes, we started early in the morning on a Saturday morning, rain, shine, hot, cool.
Cool, yeah. It was hot.
Because it was always either in the end of June or the middle of July.
Yeah.
So it was right in the hot season.
Yeah.
And when I say 24-hour event, We walked Lures track for
24
24
hours.
hours. There would be teams, different teams represented. There would be food, entertainment, just all kind of stuff. Games, kids, and I mean, even kids came out and enjoyed. And you slept on, if you decided to go to sleep, you camped out on the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm not a camping person because I don't like bugs. But there we were out there on that track for a full 24 hours. It would start about 8 o'clock on a Saturday morning and end about 10 o'clock on a Sunday morning. And believe it or not, people were there for that full 24 hours. They came and they went and they came and they went and they walked that full 24 hours. And people say, well, why are you walking around the track? What does that accomplish? But it was a fundraiser and a fun, F-U-N, awareness. And people got a chance to meet people from all walks of life. You got to meet people who were survivors. You got to meet people that were going through. And you got to meet people who had family members that had either survived or had passed away from it. So there were laughter, there was joy, and there were many tears that were shed during that 24-hour period. I can remember one year. Do you remember the year that it stormed?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Who couldn't forget that one?
Yes. There we were on the track walking around, had to rush into the gymnasium. And there was a big tree that had fallen down in front of the building, and we had no idea that had happened in front of the building. But that brought community awareness, and that's what the American Cancer Society does, bring community awareness. And you want to share some of your stuff about Relay.
Well, I think for me, it was to watch a person that had survived it talking with somebody that was just diagnosed. The person that just got diagnosed needed to know what to look forward to or what would be coming, you know, kind of like a mentor situation. And I know one year my little granddaughter, Ava, was only a couple years old, and she was out there helping put banners up, helping put things in their place, and she loved it. So yeah, it was a community thing.
And it did. The kids loved it because there was food. And at that time, it was free food. Nobody had to pay for anything, but the donations kept coming in. It wasn't like, I'll go because I can eat all I want for free and leave. But the donations kept coming in because it was a worthwhile event. And the last time I remember it being held in Fort Wayne, it was at Parkview Field, was the last time that I participated in it. And so much construction downtown till the walk became challenging for the Strides walk because streets are torn up and stuff
that's
is
where
cut
they are
off,
this year.
and that's what it is with this year. And then they went to Foster Park, and then they dug up Foster Park. So we're back to
Parkview Field.
Parkview Field, finding somewhere that we can come together. And as Kathy said a few minutes ago, meet people that have survived it, meet people who are just starting the journey, and they can get together and just talk about what I went through and what you may go through, and come together and find out what to expect. And it is truly, truly a community. The American Cancer Society is a community. They provided transportation for someone, maybe they had a husband or they had children who could couldn't get off work, but they provide transportation to the appointments. So I'd encourage you to call those numbers that I gave out in the beginning or reach out on that website if you're going through cancer or if you have a family member. In the middle of the night, you want somebody to talk to, dial that 800 number. You're going to get a live person.
Yeah.
You're not going to get a recording that says, call us back in the morning, call us back when we're available. We may get back with you noon the next week. But, called. A live person is there to talk to you. And they're just not there for women.
No.
They're there for men who as well go through different forms of cancer. You don't hear breast cancer that much in men, but it does happen in men. If you look back, some of our celebrities men have been diagnosed with breast cancer. But now Making Strides is coming up soon, isn't it?
Yeah, we have our kickoff for the season is August the 7th at 5 p.m. to 7 at the Parkview Field, the suite upstairs. There will be food. There will be a couple speakers, I believe. I believe there'll be some merchandise that you can buy. There'll be a silent auction. And so it is another one of those opportunities to meet and with people that have had it, survived it, that are just going through it. We are shooting for at least 100 people this year to be there. The team leaders will be there and getting their packet for their team members. And so,
yeah, I know COVID stopped a lot of things. It did put a damper on a lot of community events, but it's time that we get back in because people are still being diagnosed.
yeah.
Whether it's with prostate cancer, whether it's lung cancer, kidney cancer, breast cancer. There are just so many. I don't know the names of all of them that are out there. A few years ago, there's a little girl that's connected with our family that was diagnosed with kidney cancer. She was just, I want to say, entering kindergarten when she was diagnosed, and I got to see her a couple of days ago. You wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
You wouldn't know it by
wouldn't know
looking
it.
at her. Her hair is back.
Yeah.
She's just as ornery as she was before the diagnosis came along.
At that same time, my daughter Elizabeth, one of her classmates, had a little girl, and she was only 2 or 3 months old. They discovered she had cancer in her eyes, and she lost one eye, and the other one they are watching very closely, but she technically now is blind because of it, and they have to go to Philadelphia, I believe, once every so often and have scans of her eye, her head, her eyes, and yeah, you just never know.
No, like I said earlier, there is no discrimination when it comes to cancer. As a matter of fact, any disease, but this is just one. My early nursing, I don't want to say the opportunity, but I worked with a young lady. She was a child, and she had been diagnosed with cancer. And at the time, I did in-home care, and I was one of the nurses that went into the home, and I had the night shift with her. And just to hear her in pain at night, to see a child, at this point, hers was brain cancer. And at this point, the cancer had gotten to the point that she no longer had her functions. She could not walk anymore. She could talk. She could no longer feed herself or anything. So everything was done by the healthcare people that came into the home. And there was, even with the medication, she did not seemed to have relief from her pain. And so again, I was involved with the American Cancer Society as a healthcare professional, not as a volunteer at that time. And I didn't become a volunteer until my daughter worked at the American Cancer Society. And she, as Kathy got brought in, she brought the whole family and the whole neighborhood with her. You thought we were all employees of the American Cancer Society.
Well, the time that she pulled me in, we were supposed to go away, and we didn't. So she said, well, Kathy, since you're not going anywhere, come help us out. It's like, okay. So when they stopped, I think, was it the last year of Relay? She called me up on a Saturday morning in October, said, Kathy, I need your help. Come down to Headwaters Park. Not knowing what I was going to be doing, I ended up doing the helium balloons, tying them up. It was so cold, my fingers were frozen because you couldn't put gloves on to tie those balloons up. And I have no idea how many balloons I tied up. But
well, you remember the year we held up traffic?
Yes.
On Clinton? The police had told us, stay on the sidewalk, stay on the sidewalk. Yeah. That was when you could walk through downtown. Yeah. And we would leave Headwaters Park, go down Main Street. I'm trying to remember the route. Remember.
We've had so many different routes.
Yeah, and back behind where now is Promenade Park, because back where that boating area is, we'd walk that way and go down and come up. We'd end up coming up on the other side of Headwaters Park. But the police had said, okay, you got to stay on the sidewalk. But there were so many people. The sidewalk wouldn't contain them. No. Yeah. And it like I said earlier, it was a fun time as well as a fun FUN times. There would be cheerleaders and all of this. And I would hope that we could see it get back to that.
Well, we're trying. I mean, during COVID, they did have a drive-through event out in New Haven at the one park. I couldn't be there. But they tried everything they could to keep it going. And this last year, we had 203 survivors. And that's the most we've had since before COVID.
Oh, wow.
So we were really overjoyed.
Yes.
For that.
Now, how can the public get involved in Making Strides?
Well, you can go through Facebook and go to Making Strides Fort Wayne, and it'll pull it up where you can join, you can donate, you can sign a team up, or you can go online to, I think it's, I'm trying to think of what it is. I had all these papers. Probably makingstrides.org.
And it is. Now, I do know that. I've looked because that if you want to, I do know that you can go on Making Strides Fort Wayne. Yeah. And it'll pull up the Fort Wayne one, and it'll give you information like on the time and how you can sign up. My church has had a team for years with Making Strides, and I would like for us to get back involved. And again, COVID just made everybody go sit down. We got lazy and decided, oh, well, you know, we got, and a little older too, but we got, most of it was just laziness. But we had T-shirts each year. We would have different T-shirts made up with our church team. And it's not the amount that you raise, but it's the fact that you put in an effort, because all of this money stays in our community. Yeah, it does. And it helps the people in our community. I know there's wig banks and there are just so many things about it. So you want to, before we close out, we have about 8 or 9 more minutes here. if you just talk a little bit more about making strides and encourage people to come out and be a part of this event.
Well, we really need volunteers. We really also need you to sign up. Right now, as of the 17th, we had 23 teams signed up. We had 22 survivors. We had so far over $17,000 raised so far.
And again, that's $17,000 for our community.
Yeah.
Somebody in this community will benefit from that. So, yes, sign up.
Yeah. Some of the, let's see, sponsorships are coming back. Parker Leasing, Magic 95, 21 Alive, 2 Men in a Truck. CityLink Bus is still another partner again this year. I mean, there's a whole long list of sponsors, but we can always use more sponsors.
Now, what does volunteers do?
They usually man some of the booths, like we'll have a survivor area, which I'm in charge of. I have been for a number of years now. We have bags that we give out to the survivors. We also, thanks to one of our ladies, they do pontoon boat seat covers. And so they use their scrap material to make bags for the caregivers.
No.
And so we fill the bags up with little knickknacks and different things. Burn Coats comes in every year and gives away coats to all the survivors. And there's a sorority that is in the survivor area too. So last year we had over 203 pink stars on the garage doors at the batting cage.
Oh.
So, and I cut out all those stars. Luckily, I had a Cricut to cut them all out with. But there's this merchandise tables. There'll be a kids area, face painting. Anybody good at face painting, we can always use those. You just whatever is needed, set up, tear down.
Clarence knows about that setting up, tearing down.
Really, a lot of us do that. I mean, there is a number of, they'll have registration, and somebody will have to run the money into the bank all the time. And
so, yes, so maybe you can't walk.
Yeah.
So, but as the list that she named off, there's still something for everybody to do, even if you can't walk. Sign up the people as they come in. And one other thing, it does not cost you anything to enter Parkview Field that day. So you're just coming out to support the American Cancer Society. You're really coming out to support your community.
Yeah. And another thing, you don't have to have a lot of people for your team, because my team is only me, and it's been only me for a very long time. Once in a while, I think one year my husband said, okay, but he's been drug in to volunteer a number of years.
Yes.
And even my son Matt made things to hold banners and stuff on. So, yeah, it can be a family affair.
Yeah, it has been.
It has been, yes.
It has always been a family affair, because even when you were next door neighbor and we were at Lures, your husband made a lot of our props and stuff that we had up at the field there. And talking about tear down, yes, Clarence knows about tear down. He also knows about driving the church van, driving the volunteers to different spots. So all of those things. So there's something for everybody to do. And it does, again, I can't stress it enough. It benefits our community. It helps women. It makes women feel good about themselves, because I've gone to PFW used to have the basketball games.
I think they still
and
do.
For Strides game.
Comets have a night too.
High schools have events where the players wear pink and stuff. And we had an event at my church one year where all the men wore pink, even the ones that thought it was not cool for a guy to have on a pink shirt, but they all wore their pink
Some
shirts.
of them look really good in pink. I mean,
Yeah. And you've come to a program at my church where we did
Yes.
for that too. So churches, get involved. Reach out to your members, reach out to your community. And as we close down, I want to give you those numbers again.
also, before we go, a lot of the high schools, a lot of the seniors have to do service hours. Making Strides is a good way to get service hours in.
And I know the Key Club at Lewis did participate. I'm going to bring that up to them again. Cancer.org, or you can call 1-800-227-2345. And I want to thank Kathy for being my last minute. I was desperate when I texted her this afternoon.
I felt like I had a rock. Come on. We did it to you years ago. Come on, we'll do it again.
Yeah. So thank you. The information that you gave and the willingness to come out and this late as a last minute person and participate with us. And as they always say here, as we close, always protect your mind.